imagine if you could check in with not only your soul, but the soul of others around you that maybe you're having conflict with, and really get to a place of resolution and a place of healing. Hi, welcome. I'm Carol Serby, and I'm the owner of the Omineca Healing Institute, Northern British Columbia's premier institute for hypnotherapy, timeline therapy, neuro-linguistic programming, ceremony workshops, and training. So thank you very much for joining us. Today we're talking about soul conversations. I had a client earlier this week and she was asking, well, how do we do this? And I thought, well, if she doesn't know, then there's probably a lot of you out there that don't know either. So I thought, let's talk about this. Let's talk about this because it's part of the way that we follow our map. It's part of the feelings and the emotions that we have. And it's part of us unveiling and revolutionizing your understanding of how your body is speaking to you and what you need to do to listen. So let's get right down into it. Soul conversations. So when you're having a soul conversation, or when you're doing any kind of energy-based work at all, we want to be clear on the outcome. Okay? We want to be clear who we're having. Let's use a conflict as an example. Who are we having a conflict with? And if you know, or if you could imagine, what is that conflict about? And maybe it goes way, way, way back, and that's fine, okay? So who and what? Now, when we're having soul conversations, I want you to be aware that you can have soul conversations with another person, another being or entity, and you can also have soul conversations with yourself. Okay? So let's just open your mind. Let's just explode it and go, oh, okay. So there's more than one way to do this, so to speak. And again, it's about just being a little bit playful, having a little bit of fun, and just asking yourself, what if I could have a conversation with myself? What if I could have a soul-based conversation with somebody else, and they are either in the room having it with me, or I'm just asking to have it soul to soul with them. Now, when you're looking to have a soul conversation and it's not actually physically sitting with another party, another person, just be aware that they have to want to partake in that. There has to be something in them that wants to participate. Okay? So if it's you and you want to have a soul conversation with somebody else, if you know, and intuitively you will know, if you know that they are not ready, not willing, not able, or don't want to, you can't impose that on them. Okay? So then that would be a good time to look within yourself and ask yourself, what is it about this situation that I'm trying to control? Okay? But if you have the sense and the feeling or the understanding that they do want to participate in some way, okay, then you can feel free to go ahead and do this process. So that was step number 1. So it can be done on the physical or the mental plane. It can be done with yourself, with another person on the mental plane, or with another person on the physical plane. So those are kind of your parameters of how you can play with this. Step number 2. This can't happen when you're in ego. If you're going into trying to have a soul conversation to convert someone, to have them say, okay, you're right, this isn't going to work for you. Okay? You must become humble. You must move out of ego. You must want to have this conversation because an emotion that you are just ready to be done with, and you just want it to start to flow through. If you're doing it to try and control the situation, control the outcome, again, it's not going to work. Okay? So in doing this, you must have trust and faith that at the end of the day, everything will work out in everybody's highest good. And initially, just to be aware, you might not like the results, but it's not always about you, right? Okay, excellent. So that's step number 2. So step number 3, it requires honesty, okay? And as human beings, we're always moving towards getting more of a feeling or away from getting less of a feeling, okay? So we're very motivated by feelings, and a lot of us don't like some of the feelings that come up, and we stuff them and we move away from them and we stop them and we hide them and we shove them in the closet, and we do all this stuff to avoid the feelings. So in order to have a soul conversation, you really do need to get your brave on. Seriously. Because all of this stuff that you've been running away from, you've been hiding from, it's going to come up. Okay? And going back to step number 2, if you're in ego, it's just going to be a blowout and it ain't going to work. But if you're stepped out of ego and you're in humble and you're in wanting to learn, and you're in accepting responsibility for the part that you have played, okay, then you can move on. And as part of this honesty bit is, again, accepting the responsibility for your interplay in whatever the situation is, okay? So you're either wanting to feel more of something or to feel less of something, to move towards something, move away from something, and using that as a manipulation tactic, again, either with yourself or with somebody else, okay? So accepting that kind of responsibility at the level where you can get real and get honest and get true, okay? So that's step number 3. So step number 4 is holding boundaries, okay? Now, in holding boundaries, again, you can't control another person. If they choose to have a physical soul conversation with you, and in one point they jump back into ego, and they start name calling and harassing and you know, all those nasty, awful things that happen when you're confronting really deep, welled up emotions. You need to stay in compassion and understanding. And the reason for this is there's a couple of reasons. So first of all, again, you jump back into ego, they jump back into ego. It's a shit show and it's over. Okay? So there's one reason. Second reason, if you stay in compassion and you stay in understanding, people naturally want to have rapport. They naturally want to synchronize with others in the room. They naturally do not want to be ostracized. Because if you're ostracized from a group, then your survival is really at risk, okay? So the more you can stay in compassion, in understanding, and out of ego, the more you set the example for the other person to come back in and join the conversation on that soul level, to come back down out of the ego, okay? To have rapport, to have just to be able to synthesize with you, and to be able to come back in and talk again at that really deep soul level. Okay, so very important for you to hold your boundaries, and for you to realize that although when you're in the process, sometimes it can be very uncomfortable, and to sit with that uncomfortableness and allow it to move through you. So that brings us to our fifth and final step, is to allow the feelings to flow through. Okay. Generally, when you're out of ego, and when you're being honest with yourself, you don't get the breakdown, sobbing, those kinds of emotions. What you might get is the trickle tear that comes down, but you're still able to hold your voice, and you're still able to hold that vibration. So what's happening there is you're allowing the free flow through you. When you get into the sobbing and the, I'll use the word theatrics of, the big argument or the big confrontation, again, you're back into ego. And, sobbing basically represents, ha 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 ha, I am showing you how much you're hurting my feelings. Ha ha ha. I want you to see how much you hurt me. But the truth of the matter is in them staying in the ego, and in them wanting to prove to you how much you hurt them, they're not taking any accountability and any responsibility for their part in the situation either. So they're trying to play you a bit, and it's turning into all about them. So just be aware of some of these signs that show that people are stepping back into ego, and they're trying to control the outcome. And we control the outcome because of fear, right? Fear and ostracization. Boy, it must be a Monday morning. Ostracization? I think you guys know what I mean. Being kicked out of the group, right? Being ostracized, being kicked out of the group. So, all these fears come in, and we're so used to playing in those fears. We're so used to giving them their spot, that to step out of them is actually really freeing, really freeing. So there's 5 steps to having a real soul-based conversation. If you have any questions or any comments, by all means, throw them in. I'll watch the feed, and we'll see where this conversation goes. And if you really like this content, you think somebody else will benefit from it, I ask you to please share it, because sharing is caring, right? And if you're looking for more energy healing techniques, inspiration, or understanding how your body speaks to you, I encourage you to go to our website at ominecahealing.ca and sign up for our free, we're doing a monthly digest now, so we're taking everything from the month and we condense it down. So if you've missed any of the lessons or any of the learnings, it's a really good place to have everything all in one spot. And if you'd like an opportunity to work with us here at Omineca, by all means, you can also, again, go to our website, ominecahealing.ca, and you can sign up for a free 30-minute clarity call where you and I will sit down and we'll have a conversation around some of the emotional energies, some of the pain, some of the illness, some of the injuries and diseases that maybe you are suffering with. And we can have this soul conversation and find out what your body is trying to tell you, and find out what you're struggling with and where some of your blockages are. And, just start to work with some of these unconscious things that happen that really control and direct our day-to-day way of being. we'll offer any ideas as we're chatting, and by all means, you can ask any questions that come up. That's what we're there for. And if I think that we have a potential to work together, I will make you an offer. We also offer mini courses, mini workshops, mini lectures. I'm working on building up a membership site right now. So those of you that can't join these workshops and lectures live, I am looking on developing them into a membership program at a very, very reasonable small cost, so that you can participate in some of the outside work that we're doing here at Omineca. So it's our purpose to support you in your courage and to support you in your clarity in listening intuitively to the mastery that's already in your body. So what we want to do, it's our goal here, is to support you in living your life full throttle so that you can give permission to others to be the same. So thank you so much for joining me here today, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.